You're watching Euronews Now with me, Sarah Green. Thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at the headlines. The Red Cross says Ukraine and Russia have green-lighted a new attempt to evacuate residents from the besieged city of Mariupol. But the mayor of the city says aid supplies have been blocked. Peace talks between Kiev and Moscow are set to resume by video following face-to-face talks in Turkey earlier this week. And Serbia votes in presidential, parliamentary and municipal elections this weekend. Will incumbent President Aleksandar Vučić claim victory once again?
Ukrainian troops remain ready to resist attacks, as authorities say they are skeptical about Russia's promise to retreat from the Kiev region. NATO has warned that Russian troops are just regrouping, and Kiev fears a harsh new wave of attacks on the eastern part of the country.
In Donbass, in Mariupol and in direction of Kharkiv, Russian troops are accumulating their offensive potential, powerful offensives. We will defend ourselves. We will do everything to stop the occupiers and cleanse our lands of their wicked and absurd chimeras.
Meanwhile, there are new hopes for a humanitarian corridor is to be opened in Mariupol to allow civilians to escape the besieged city. But as with many of Russia's promises, nothing is taken for granted. The invasion is not going as planned for Russia, and Moscow has been forced to move troops from Georgia to Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin, intelligence reports say, is increasingly out of touch.
Good afternoon. Whether a dictator declares... There's a lot of speculation, but he seems to be, I'm not saying this with a certainty, he seems to be self-isolating, and there's some indication that he has fired or put under house arrest some of his advisors. But I don't want to put too much stock in that at this time because we don't have that much hard evidence.
In Kharkiv, a new round of shellings has killed 8 people and at least 2,000 residents have signed up to help the municipality to clean up the debris.
Situated on the Black Sea, the Ukrainian port city of Odessa is strategically vital to the ongoing conflict. Once a bustling cosmopolitan city, much of its population has now fled and its roads and cities turned into a fortress. Authorities there are bracing for a Russian attack. Our correspondent Sergio de Almeida has more.
As you can see behind me, there are several sandbags blocking the streets, and you can see them all over the city, protecting the buildings, protecting the monuments, protecting the citizens. This shows also that the threat is really real. And during this night, the sound of the air raid sirens was heard several times, but till now there was no major incident reported by the Ukrainian army. But even yesterday, the spokesperson of the Odessa Regional Military Administration said that there's a real threat because Russian warships went to Crimea, the occupied territory, to be refilled with caliber missiles. These kind of missiles are quite dangerous, more dangerous than the others, because they fly with a speed of 800 kilometers per hour, and they are pre-programmed. It means that they can change direction till the target several times. The spokesperson said also that till now the Ukrainian army managed to block and shoot down several times those kinds of missiles. Sergio Ferreira de Almeida, in Odessa, Ukraine, for Euronews.
Russia claims that a fire that broke out at a fuel depot in the city of Belgorod early on Friday was the result of an attack by 2 Ukrainian military helicopters. Ukraine has yet to respond to the allegation. Vyacheslav Gladkov, the governor of the region, claimed that the Ukrainian helicopters flew into the city at low altitude. Belgorod is just 80 kilometers north of Ukraine's second largest city, Kharkiv. The regional governor claimed that 2 of the depot's workers were injured when the fire broke out just after 2 in the morning local time. Russia's Ministry of Emergency Situations claimed that more than 170 rescue workers had been sent to the depot. Rosneft, the state-owned company that owns it, claimed it had managed to evacuate all of its staff.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has rejected the Kremlin's ruling that Russian gas must be paid in rubles. The SPD leader addressed reporters in Berlin on Thursday and insisted that payments would remain the same following a phone call with Russia's President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday.
We have looked at the contracts for gas supplies and other supplies. It says that the payment is made in euros, sometimes dollars, but usually in euros. And I made it clear in the conversation with the Russian president that this will remain the case.
Moscow has threatened to turn off the taps if the decree is ignored. But Italy's Prime Minister, Mario Draghi, says Putin assured him in a separate phone call that the current agreement would not change.
Rimangono in vigore. I am referring to the words of President Putin. Existing contracts remain in force. For European companies, he remarked several times that this is a concession. I did not understand it well, but it is a regulation that applies only to European companies, only to European member states. They will continue to pay in euros or dollars.
While French Economy Minister Bruno Le Maire has announced that France and Germany are planning for a possible halt in Russian gas supplies, he also refuted the new terms.
We don't accept payment of the gas contracts in a different currency to the one agreed in the contract.
But the minister has stressed that Germany is preparing for all scenarios.
The recent Russian decree to make so-called unfriendly countries pay for gas in rubles has been met with strong resistance. And with major importers France and Germany now planning for a possible halt in imports, the Kremlin's bid to stabilise its economy after crushing Western sanctions could have the opposite effect.
Some analysts think that this move is an attempt to support the ruble, the Russian currency, to create demand for it. But I have spoken with an oil and gas analyst, Mikhail Krutikhin, and he told me that on the contrary, there is a risk that the clients will turn away, that it could create a chaos in the whole system of payments. And he said that it is really, really risky for Russia's economy, which depends a lot on exports from gas.
The new mechanism proposed by Russian President Vladimir Putin involves buyers using a Russian-designated bank that will open 2 accounts, one in foreign currency and one in rubles. Countries will then pay in euros or dollars and are expected to authorise the bank to sell that currency for rubles. The Russian currency will then be placed into the second account where the gas is formally purchased. Russia has ramped up interest rates, slowing the ruble's devaluation. But if sanctions increase, this won't work indefinitely.
The Kremlin has banned the European Union's top officials from entering Russia. The move announced by the Foreign Ministry is in retaliation to the bloc's raft of crippling sanctions following President Putin's invasion of Ukraine. The President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, a number of EU commissioners, members of Parliament and representatives from some EU member states are all on the blacklist. Sergei Lavrov's ministry claims the EU not only forced relations with Russia into a dead end, but also affected the well-being and security of its own citizens. The announcement comes before Friday's virtual EU-China summit, where Brussels will urge Beijing to condemn Moscow's actions.
Of the world economy.
Stay with us on Euronews for all the news from across Europe and beyond after this break.